Welcome to the Saturday Night Live Afterparty. This week, we'll be discussing Season 46, Episode 16 of SNL with host Daniel Kaluuya and musical guest St. Vincent. I'm Catherine Coleman, and I am joined this week by Steve Finn and New York-based comedian and podcaster Charlotte O'Tremba. You can follow Charlotte on Instagram at Charlotte O'Tremba. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can do so at snlpodcast.com. Enjoy these selected highlights from this week's discussion. And if you'd like to watch our full-length, ad-free, sketch-by-sketch review, you can find it exclusively on Patreon and Subscribestar/SNL Podcast. It's our supporters that make this show possible, and we are so thankful to everyone who's already come on board. All right, here we go. So this week we came in with a high-energy first-time host that seemed really, really excited to be there, and I think we got a lot to discuss.
I agree. Man, I love a high-energy monologue, let me tell you. Nothing grinds my
Same.
gears more than the, long, drawn-out, let's get the audience involved monologue.
Yep.
I was very happy with this one.
Nope, none of that. We had
None
a
of
very
that.
charming first-timer who really took the reins. Had a great time with this guy for sure.
I loved it. Yeah, I thought he was great.
Do you want some help?
No, I'm having fun.
At this family dinner, Mom is fine. She didn't want to play Rummy Cube. It's fine. Really, it's fine. And all was not fine. So, Steve, what'd you think of this one?
I thought it was fair, you know. It made fun of moms all around the world, but it also gave us perspective on, what motivates them to act that way. It's not totally just selling them out as monsters that will ruin all board games, that are played in the kitchen. I thought this, really made me at the end side with the mother and be like, okay, y'all are not making time for her. That's the thing about being a mom. Nobody shares your interests. You're just this weird, unique island in the family. Everybody wants to watch Deadpool and you want to watch Chocolat. But you don't like the idea unless your boyfriend suggests it. That was probably the most heartbreaking moment. The fact that she's been trying to get them to play or to watch Chocolat that whole time. And then they go and watch it without her. I cried. I actually shed a tear at the sketch. It was barely comedy. But yeah, it was, like I said, it was fair. We got to see, her passive aggressive behavior, but she never gets to do anything she likes. They don't even throw her a bone. They even kind of make fun of her for never wanting to do what everybody else wants to do. But that must be so frustrating because you're, what you like, it's what you like. And
Right.
nothing hurts more than to have that invalidated when nobody else likes it with you. So this was probably the funniest way of making this point, and Kate McKinnon was the perfect casting choice for this role. She knows how to carry a scene, and the way she just beat up the dishwasher and shred pictures was, it was chef's kiss, all of it.
Yeah. Kate was everything Kate was doing in the background was fantastic. And she knows how to milk that moment and isn't afraid to push it just a little past what's comfortable, So that was definitely good casting. And we've seen, it's not this sketch, it's not this character, but we've seen this game before. There was a pizza ad with Will Ferrell where Kate McKinnon also played the passive-aggressive mom who never gets what she wants. And so at first I was like, oh, is this supposed to be the same family? And I was kind of intrigued in that. I don't think it was. I think it's a thing. But I thought this was really fun. It was maybe a little long. But here's what I did notice. Did either of you watch the live show?
Yeah.
Or did you just watch it recorded? Okay, you both
I watched
did.
it live.
Oh, I didn't watch it live. No, I guess not. I watched it on Hulu, which is like live recorded, so I guess not like
Right.
in the moment. Okay.
Okay, well, Steve, you saw it live.
I was watching the TV while they were on the stage doing it
Right.
over where you're
Okay.
at.
Okay. Did the beat where she answers the phone, was that in the live version?
She answers the phone.
She plays the music on the headphones and then she goes and answers the phone and then goes and like shreds the pictures.
I cannot recall.
I don't think that was
Because
in
I've
the live
only
version.
seen the live version and I don't remember
Okay.
any phone calls. So
Okay.
that
She
helps
answers
your
it right
theory.
over them.
That helps my theory because when I was watching it on Hulu, I went, wait a second. This didn't happen last night. They added a new beat into the sketch. A sketch that I
Zack
already felt
Snyder
like was
came
maybe a
in
little
and-
too long.
Yeah, Zack Snyder gave his cut of the sketch,
Yeah.
so that's probably what he got.
So Charlotte, do you have any thoughts on the Snyder cut of the sketch since that's the one you saw?
Wow, that's so interesting. So do you think that they went back in and taped it again? Or like how did they
They
add
probably
that
pulled
in?
it from dress rehearsal. Mhm.
Interesting. Oh, that's so
They
funny.
do that from time to time.
It
Wow.
do be like that.
I don't know that I've ever noticed them full on adding something to a sketch though. Sometimes they'll switch out a performance if there's a missed cue or something. But this is the first time I was like, oh, you put something back in the sketch that you cut for air.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, look, I loved that Will Ferrell sketch, so I was excited to see her come back. I thought this was, really funny. This is like my mom. It was so funny. I think what I would have liked is her redemption speeches to come earlier or something. I don't know. Or like some other comments back at them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it made me just more annoyed with her the whole time. I didn't really have any sympathy for her until I don't know. Yeah. But other than that, I thought it was hilarious. I thought the Josh Wine bookends was just so well done. I just think that's so funny to start it off with a funny line like that and then end it. They do that sometimes, and I just think it's such a smart play.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that categories like became so intense, and then even when they tried to include her, and she wouldn't know the letter, and she would like take it so personally, get so angry. I felt that to my core. Yeah, I really liked the sketch. It was really funny. I guess maybe you're right. Maybe it did go on a little bit long. Now that you say that, I did like that phone beat though. So I don't know if I would have cut that, but yeah, I don't know.
Maybe if they had given us those little nuggets that you're talking about to keep us on her side, the length wouldn't have felt long. Just a little bit more rationale up top.
Yeah. Instead of just like, why is she? But also could just be after a couple glasses of wine, you know?
Let's keep going. A son disappoints his immigrant parents by pursuing a career in the arts. Charlotte, what won about this?
Everything. I loved this sketch. This sketch was perfect to me. I thought the contrast between the three couples was clear, especially between Daniel Kaluuya and Ego Wodum. They're like Nigerian family, and then like the more sort of like, white family, like of course we're so proud, and then the other family that kind of doesn't really have any skin in the game and just trying to appease both sides. I just thought the heightening got so great. Once he broke that he was going to be a creative writing major, the son, I thought that was hilarious. After the setup with the art sculpture, and then every single line, some of my favorites were, "Who promised you what?" with the Promising Young Writer Award, and then the line at the end with like, "Oh, is there a poet in the house? Oh, are you gonna save me?" Or like, after 40 to 50 years, you're a doctor, and then you could be a writer. I just thought every single line, I thought their chemistry together and heightening together and just being so on the same page. And then her going after the the other moms was hilarious. Them trying to pawn off their kid for adoption. I just thought like the heightening was so clear, went
Mhm.
so high, and it just like gave you that like sense of satisfaction at the end that it was like as high and great as it could go. And then they went after everybody. I loved the sketch. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I too loved it. The deliveries here were amazing. And like you said, Ego and Daniel had amazing chemistry and their timing together was phenomenal. Like when they both in unison said, "We were lying." And it was a perfect delivery. So
Perfect.
and then like you said, the "Is there a poet in the house?" was such a perfect blackout line. And it was a
Yes.
satisfying ending because, like you said, they had heightened there. And so we had a great ending, and that's so rare at SNL to have such a strong ending. So really stood out. Um, and yeah, this was really, really fun. Steve, what'd you think?
Yeah. Ended on that high note. Glad we mentioned that. I'm just really amused by the whole reveal uh, at just how talented he is as a creative writer. Because we've seen this story, like the strict parents who demand their child takes a certain career path, but they have some kind of creative talent. But that's what goes with all of those stories is that this person who wants to be a dancer or singer or writer is actually half decent
Right.
at it at least. And we all heard the poem.
I wake up and my emotions are as blue paint.
I want to know what organization gave that
Yeah.
an award because it really, I mean, it took a med student who apparently excels in chemistry out of that field and into, this very, a lot less potential for income with this field,
Right.
we'll say. Uh, yeah, it's just funny for the story to miss that important ingredient that
Right.
he's actually a good writer and taking that away and watching everybody kind of like double back on their support for him was a beautiful way to just let everything fall apart. And yeah, by the time we got that last brilliant line, it's even better because pretty much everybody's on the side with the parents now because they just heard that poem.
Right.
It's a great full circle. I love it.
Oh, yes. Look at that. Oh, my gosh. Getting nice and high.
Smokery Farms is back with more meat from bad, mean animals. I love the Smokery Farms, ladies. Charlotte, how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, same. I mean, Kate McKinnon and Adie Bryant as a pair always have great chemistry. They make each other laugh, which is so fun to watch. I love the premise of this that, two ladies like, oh, you don't want to eat because animals are cute, these are mean, and then just so much room to pull some really great mean things, that animals couldn't even do, like wanking off on the subway. I mean, I just thought some of the lines thrown in there, again, I mean, just great writing, tight jokes, funny. And then I love when they involved Colin and, made like rubbed his hand on the meats. I
Touch
mean,
the
it
ham.
was yeah, I mean, not much to say. Thought this was funny, really clear and not too long. And yeah, great little segment.
Yeah. These are such great characters. I think this is their third outing. Um and it was really good. I loved it. I still loved them. I'm wondering, well, if they do a fourth appearance, will that be the one where it becomes too much?
Mm.
Because they're not adding anything new to it.
Mhm.
They're actually writing in the things that were kind of improvised and made it funny the first time. Like, because I don't, the first time they came out, uh, they didn't know that the meat was going to be so stinky. So a lot of that wasn't necessarily written into the sketch. But now they seem to be they're adding that in, which loses a little bit of the magic, but it still works really well because you can tell that the meat does truly stink. So I liked it, and I'm not trying to rag on this appearance. I'm just starting to wonder, like, I hope y'all don't do it too many times.
Mhm.
I hope if you do, you find something new to bring to it that will make me really excited to see these, because I just hate it when there's a character that I love so much and then it becomes too much. I don't want that to happen to these fantastic meat ladies.
You don't want it
Uh,
to jump the shark.
right. Steve, how'd you feel about it?
Well, you pretty much nailed it there. I think the reason I love the first run at this was you could tell that nobody really considered the the state of the meat by the time they got to live television under all
Mhm.
those lights. Uh, the fact that they were caught off guard and just were try to struggle through it without all that stuff actually written into the sketch like it is this time. That was all really fun. Like those are rare moments that, things just derail because it's so difficult to just to do your job with all the distractions that they decide to give you. But now that they have this anticipatory uh reaction to it, like, oh, here it comes, like it's just not the same. We'll never catch that lightning in a bottle again because now they
Mhm.
know that it's going to sting. And yeah, you're right, Catherine, they're writing it into the dialogue and they're having these little ad libs, which I don't really think they are ad libs. They're just kind
Right.
of delivered in an off the cuff way. uh but it's still funny. The anthropomorphization of animals for comedic effect has been done on the show a lot. This is basically just whiskers are we, but the animals are dead now. You know, just applying
Hot
human
take.
characteristics, things that animals would never do, and we're laughing because we're getting that mental image of
Yeah.
animals, having fireman time on the subway, and other such examples. So this is I think it's done now. I don't think we can get another one out of it. I'm already feeling like we got to move on and
Mhm.
yeah, just accept that this was lightning in a bottle. It's going to be hard to get back again.
Mhm. All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the guy who just bought a boat, here to tell us some dating tips now that the world is reopening. Steve, have you gotten tired of guy who just bought a boat?
He does make me laugh. The guy who bought a boat, he's got he just grosses you out. He
Mhm.
makes you, suck your teeth and just say, "Ugh, you shouldn't be a person." And we have fun because we know Alex isn't really like that, and he's making fun of them with them. So, like, we could actually look a guy like this in the eye because we know it's just a character. And yeah, we just love to hate him. This is another thing that's kind of lost a little bit of his charm. And uh, I think the reason is he just tried to change the blueprint of it. And now I don't know what he's really asking for when he gets to those little subliminal messages, because that used to be the laugh. He'd say
Mhm.
something douchey or whatever, but the laugh out loud moment would be the I have a small penis part at the
Mhm.
end. But there's this weird thing is happening where he's saying jokes that elicit laughs, and then he has that line after the joke, but people are laughing over it. So I don't know if the writing is structured properly for like that subliminal little gimmick that they've put onto this character. It's still making me laugh. I feel like that aspect of it has gotten muddled. Maybe with more
Interesting.
writers coming in. I don't know why that's happened, but I just noticed it's structurally changed a bit.
I feel like what that is them, because guy who just bought a boat has been on many times, and I'm not tired of him at all. So I think what that is maybe they are shifting it, because if the punchline every time he came out was different ways of saying I have a small penis, I think we would be tired of him. But since they've started layering in so many more jokes, that's what makes him welcome to come back.
Yeah.
Um, And this I thought was one of his best appearances because, I mean, much like the monologue, like the jokes per minute, this doubled the jokes per minute of the monologue. I mean, every word out of his mouth was a joke. And Alex delivers these so well. It's just crazy. And I loved it. I thought this was a really, really good showing of Guy Who Just Bought a Boat. Charlotte, what did you think?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, I don't have anything much different to add. I do agree that it was like every line was hilarious, and I think this was probably one of their strongest, I think, for his appearances. And yeah, and I don't know, it's interesting, Steve. I'm not tired of him yet, and I think I would have to agree with Catherine in that yes, I agree with you that there was kind of laughing over those lines, but I think those I have a small penis lines were just like a call back to every appearance he's ever done, like just for the audience kind of. And the real jokes were these new jokes that they've written that were so funny. And I think if they completely omitted those lines, like the audience would wonder where they were because that was always the hit with him. So I don't know. It still worked for me. I think I agree that if it was only those, we would be tired of him. So I'm not tired of him yet. I do really think he's funny. And I think it's good that it's been a while since we've seen him and how he like brought an opinion on COVID and it was sort of like a new take. And I just thought I thought it was really funny. And I also think it's funny interacting with Colin because Colin Jost, I think that's kind of the joke in that, he kind of is that archetype, even though, that's
Right.
not like what he does, but it's like, that's always sort of the joke about him. So I thought that it was funny.
If you want to see our full sketch by sketch review, search for SNL Afterparty on Patreon or subscribestar.com. All right, let's get into our overall ratings and thoughts. Charlotte, what's your moment of the night?
My moment of the night would be Colin Jost talking about Matt Gaetz. I thought that whole segment just hit the nail on the head. The jokes were tight. It was of the moment. We're all talking about it, reading about it, watching it on the news. The way he kept going back to it, the way he made jokes about himself, about him, like you said earlier, the joke about the vaccine, study coming out at the same time. That was my moment of the night.
Fair enough. Steve, what's your moment?
Pretty good. Good moment. I'm going with one of Ego's lines that really hit me.
Just any impression I do is going to be British. I can't help it.
Okay, so when you do Cat Williams, you make him British too?
I don't do Cat Williams.
Okay, well now that's two things I hate about your ass.
And I don't know why I love that line so much, but I'm not even going to question it. I'm just going to enjoy how much that makes me laugh. That's my moment.
Very good. I'm going to give it to in the sketch with the immigrant parents when Ego and Daniel look at each other and say, "We were lying," in perfect unison. I thought that the delivery of that was fantastic, and it was a very funny joke because, of course, you were lying to someone's kid about how they're great.
Yes.
What happens to them does not affect you, so lie away.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
So up next is best sketch, Charlotte.
Without a doubt, the Proud Parents sketch. Thought this was so well done, well written. Chemistry was spot on. Characters were hilarious. This had no bad moments to me. And also, like we said, it heightened to a great place. It ended in a satisfying way. Thought this was pretty much a perfect sketch and my best sketch of the night.
Very good. Steve, what's yours?
I think I'm going to agree with Charlotte. That was probably my favorite too. The just the whole the switching of sides and making you feel for one character then the other, and yeah, you think you know what you want for this guy, and then you find out that he's just a desperate poet who can't even write more than 15 words for a poem.
15 seems
Yeah,
generous.
like you kind of go, oh yeah, these parents aren't actually like strict hard asses. They just know what their son actually excels at and what he would actually be good at. They're looking out for the best for him. And yeah, just some kids are accidentally told they're good at something and they go and believe it. And then you got to talk them back into medical school. So this is a great, great sketch that depicts that whole, life lessons some people go through.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
I think I'm gonna go with guy who just bought a boat. I think this was a very, very strong outing of guy who just bought a boat. I thought he was on his A game. All of the writing was fantastic. It was super tight, and Alex delivered it flawlessly. So that's gonna be
Great
my
choice.
best sketch.
Very
All
good.
right. Next up is MVP. Charlotte?
I'm going to give it to Ego Wodum. I thought she really nailed all the sketches she was in. I thought her characters were really clear and just over the top enough in a way, like very realistic, and then she just delivered them such energy, and again her chemistry with Daniel was great. I just thought, yeah, she just crushed it and was hilarious, and yeah, loved everything she was in.
Ego is fantastic. Steve, who's your MVP?
Feels like a Kate night to me. She was good as Pepe Le Pew. She was good as the mom in the Rummy Cube sketch. And what else did she do? She was the Smokery Farms lady. So she had a lot of fun moments. I think the time I spent with Kate was the most quality time of any other cast member. I just was delighted with everything she did on screen, and she had a fair good of screen time as well. So yeah, I feel like she earned it for me this week.
Fair enough. This is the second week in a row I'm going to give it to the host. I thought Daniel Kaluuya came to play and did a great job. He brought a lot of energy to everything. It did not seem like he was a first time host.
Mm-mm.
You know, he seemed a little bit like a pro. There wasn't a lot of fumbles. There, any missed cues from him. Really staring at cue cards wasn't too obvious. I thought he was great, and he just brought a lot of energy to everything. And then I saw on Instagram today, he had some pitches that he offered. One was a sketch about Salt Bay, which unfortunately got cut for time, but you can watch it on YouTube. But he
That was a
pitched that
fun
one, and it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just love it when a host is excited to be there, and that's contagious to the cast, and I think that showed in the episode. And so yeah, Daniel Kaluuya is my MVP.
Wow.
He crushed it.
High praise.
Yeah. All right. Well, on a scale of classic, great, decent, weak, or train wreck, Charlotte, how would you rate this episode?
You made me go first last time for this, but it's okay. I'll still go first again.
You're the guest.
I think I'm going to go with great because there were a lot of wins, but there were a few that fell kind of flat, namely that opening sketch. And I think also, too, a couple of the other sketches, like we said, a little bit unclear, which makes sense. I think, yeah, I'm giving it a great. I thought it was a great, great episode, and I thought it was an amazing host, and I'm excited for him to come back.
Very good. Steve, what would you rate it?
Something tells me to give it a decent. I'll try to explain myself. I felt like I enjoyed the episode, and I was thankfully not made to cringe or hope that any part ended. I was generally okay to watch every minute of the show. Nothing was like working for me so bad that I was like, okay, let's get on to the next thing. I didn't have any feelings like that, but I also didn't have any feelings like, this is the best sketch ever. Oh, this is one of the greatest of the season. This is the highlight of the night. I didn't have any really strong feelings one way or the other. And to me, I think that just feels like a middle of the road, decent episode.
Yeah, I'm torn between great and decent. I'm leaning closer to decent. Because on one hand, nothing for me fell flat, which is a pretty big feat. And so there's that. There's some things, I liked more than others or worked better than others, but nothing was bad. There was nothing that I went, ugh, can we cut this?
And that
Much
can
like
happen.
you, Steve.
Right.
But also, just like Steve, there was nothing that I immediately said, I have to send this to every person I know. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There were two moments that I thought were the monologue. I said, I think it's one of the top of the season, and Guy Who Just Bought a Boat was one of the top. But everything else just left me feeling like that was a good sketch. So I'm torn on, does that make it great in that everything was good, nothing was bad? Or does that make it decent in the fact that nothing soared? And yeah, I think I'm gonna land on decent, a high decent, because like I said, I think Daniel came to play. He came with a lot of energy, and everything was good. I just wish we had a few things that were really, really great. So,
when you're getting a really great season, sometimes decents feel like they could be great, or greats feel like decents, just because you're used to the quality being so high. So even something like normal, something that's normal of the season would be considered great, but like the entire span of SNL, maybe it's decent on that scale.
Right.
Things kind of get muddled based on like, how good it has been recently.
Yeah, because I think I've given greats a lot in a row. So, and it's almost like if we replace the word decent with average, that I would feel much better about it than calling it decent for some reason. I don't know. It means the same thing. It's in the middle of the scale.
It used to be something else. It wasn't always decent. That would have been a good bit of radio if I could remember. So
well, let's do that thing that John hates since he's not here and say, listeners, we want to hear from you. If you think average would be better than decent, or if you think decent has a worse connotation than it does, let us know in the comments down below.
# replace decent.
All right. Well, that is the end of our rundown. It sounds like we were all decently pleased with the episode. I used the word decent.
That's a word for
it. We had some fun. I'm excited to see Daniel Kaluuya come back. I think he definitely will. And yeah, good episode. Charlotte, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. A blast as always. Thank you.
Yeah.
And happy Keister to you both, by the way. Or Flappy Keister to you both.
Flappy Keister. Thank you so much, Steve. And if anyone wants to catch Charlotte's podcast, it's called The Charlotte O'Trimba Show. It's available wherever podcasts can be found, right?
And on YouTube. You could even watch it.
And on YouTube.
I'll leave it in the comments. No, I'm kidding.
Link in the description below if you want to check that out. It is an affiliate link. All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks to Steve, Finn, and Charlotte O'Trimba. And thanks as well to our most generous patrons, Sam Bowers, Neil Weinstein, Justin Gardner, Carissa Eubank, Grace Kogan, and Brian Clark. If you're enjoying our show, please subscribe on YouTube or wherever better podcasts can be found. Your subscription helps us grow, and your support is greatly appreciated. We'll be back next week when SNL returns with host Carrie Mulligan and musical guest Kid Cudi. But until then, this has been episode number 133 of the Saturday Night Live Afterparty podcast. I'm Katherine Coleman, and like Jerry Springer says, take care of yourselves and each other.